And we're back with another episode of the Horns Down podcast. Horns down all the time. Hope they lose tonight. We are coming off a 34, 31, 34, 37. What was the score again?
35-32.
35-32. There you go. My mind's just scrambled. It's heartbreaking to sit here and bring this to you guys, but hey, we definitely got to talk about it. There are a lot of positives, but let's just talk. Let's just get right to it. Let's just get right to it, y'all. What cost us the game? I'll put the question right there and I'll put it on the board. What cost us the game tonight?
The offensive line, not having a healthy offensive line and having these guys opt out, that killed us. Because, Dylan Gabriel, I think they said he got sacked 8 times in this game. I think is what they said. It was 7 or 8 times.
Now, PG, I understand that, but I will say, maybe 3 or 4 of those were coverage sacks because he held on. That was his fault. Dylan Gabriel held on to the ball way too much in this game. Way too much.
Well, yeah, he's done that all season, right? He needs to learn how to. He needs to learn how to throw the ball away. This is not the and I talked about it in a video I made earlier today about is Dylan Gabriel going to leave the Sooners? Will he return? And one of the things I talked about was transferring from a G5 school to a Power 5 school. That is different. I don't think people realize the talent level difference between the two. And with him coming back from an injury last season, not really being able to shake off the rest this year because of getting hurt again, I just suspect that he hasn't fully understood that I have to get rid of the ball because these defensive linemen are bigger and faster than what I am used to going up against.
Yeah. I'm going to go to what Norwooding is saying right here. The D-line is absolutely horrible. Ethan Downs and Grimes are so bad. So, you see the effort, but man, look, at the end of the day, there's a reason. And look, it's a lot to do with the scheme. So you have to understand that's what Venables wants to do. But when it comes to our pass rush, we're good enough. We have the talent on the roster as is right now to get home with 4, but that's something that we just can't do this year.
They were trying to focus on the run game too much today to the point of where they let the pass game kill them. That's what happened. They were so focused on you're not going to beat us in the run game to the point where it's like, all right, you're going to beat us in the passing game.
Let's stick with the defensive side of the ball right now and just talk about that. So what I would say is, look, I'm fine with him calling those timeouts. I think he probably could have called them earlier, maybe 1 or 2 earlier when they're moving it down the field on a 40 or their 40-yard line, their 50-yard line. You kind of see what some people are saying as far as them calling a timeout whenever you're on your own 10-yard line or 20-yard line. It just doesn't make that much sense, but I get it. But defensively, like I said, I'm going to go back to the front 7. I thought Iguebu and Danny Stutzman had really good games, but at the same time, you don't think so, Drew? Look,
No. They looked lost out there at some points.
There was a lot of I don't understand why we're playing zone coverage and we don't have nothing behind the linebackers or nothing in front of the safeties. And, hey, guys, in case you were wondering, 14's pretty good. So you might want to cover him.
Yeah.
And why would we? I can't wait, like you said in the group chat. Can't wait till we get some bigger, taller DBs because I know they're playing their butts off, and I'm not going to rip them, but it's just a mismatch when you got a 5'9", 5'10" guy on a 6'7" dude. Yeah.
Look, here's the thing, man. I'm going to say this right here. The reason why I said I thought tackling wise, I thought they controlled the middle, but whenever we dropped them in coverage, that's whenever they got exposed. You're basically running. It's the same thing every single game. Yep. They drop Stutzman. Stutzman basically runs out of the play. They wait for him to clear out. Here comes a guy running a deep post or a slant.
Well, and the times that we were good is when we brought pressure from multiple different looks. And I don't know why we didn't go to more of that. You don't have to bring the same guy every time. You can change it up. And when we got pressure on Travis, that's when we were good. And we go away from it. We drop. It's like Alex Grinch is back calling defense. I'm like, I don't understand. We got a lot of talent, and I don't know what you guys talked about on the onset, but I'm not a moral victory guy. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm happy with it. I'm not. We go in there. You expect to win a game like this, no matter what Florida State's got. I understand everybody's chirping, oh, they had a full roster. Okay, cool. It's college football. Go play. I don't do moral victories. I'm sorry. It was good. I'm glad we didn't get blown out, but we were a better team than them.
We were a better team. The better team did not win tonight, and that's crazy.
And that's football. Hey, tip your hat. Florida State, great job. You control the line of scrimmage. So did the referees. Referees also controlled the line of scrimmage.
What I was going to say, not only is that football, that's also the epitome of this season. That's the way this season has went.
Absolutely. And me and my buddy Danny, we talk all the time. We text all through the game. I sit with him. We have season tickets together. And that's the same thing. We weren't mad. We were just like, hey, it's the same thing we've seen all year.
PG, tell me on defense, what was your area of concern throughout this game? Like what did you come into the game with, like thinking, okay, we're not going to have a pass rush, or did that change over the game? Like what became your concern in this game?
Yeah, so I actually came into the game, and by the way, Washington just blocked a Texas punt. So they've got the ball in Texas territory. But no, I came into the game thinking, man, we're going to give up a lot of run yards. The run game's going to kill us. And then I was like, all right, like we're stopping this. This looks good. And then the pass game just became absolutely awful. And it's because, and I've said this before, Ethan Downs and Reggie Grimes. I love Ethan. We've had him on the podcast. I've talked about him really highly. But Ethan Downs, Reggie Grimes, and these guys on the edge, they have been disappointing this season. There is no other way to put it. We expected Ethan Downs probably to come out with 4 or 5 sacks this year. We expected Reggie Grimes to be better than what he is outside of the 4.5 sacks that he had at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, Hank brings up a good point. No Grayson Holton tonight.
Yeah, and I didn't see I might be blind, but did I not see Kip Lewis, Kobe McKenzie, or Knack tonight either? Well,
Knack played special teams. He was in on a couple goal line situations. He was in. Knack was.
I saw McKenzie out there.
Again, I go back to saying, I don't know if PG saw it, but everybody's kind of underrating Danny Stutzman's speed and saying that Jaron Knack is faster than him. No way. No how.
Look, here's a comment from Nate Kane that I'm going to talk about right now. Let's put focus on this. I mean, let's break it down, y'all. We got some time. We've said it before. You may want to push one of them inside, and that guy may be Ethan Downs, and that's just my opinion.
Oh no, Ethan Downs and Reggie need to go to the inside, especially what they have coming in next year, and having R. Mason Thomas, because I think R. Mason Thomas could be that dude next year.
Here's the thing: is you just have to build that D line from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
We need those guys. We start recruiting those guys inside, so that we can take care of the depth on the outside, because you're going to rotate more of the edge guys than you will the middle of the defense. And for us, we just need, to keep recruiting that middle of the defense and all that stuff. And there's a lot. At the same time, I said there's no moral victories. There's a lot to look at and really be like, oh, I'm excited. Obviously, the run game. Mm-hmm. For us and everything like that. But we were playing, up front when you're playing with 4 new offensive linemen, you're going to have some struggles, stuff like that. But yeah, defensively, it was just the same song and dance.
I could tell you what we learned today, which is actually really good for us. What we learned today. You got to go to the portal and you got to get a couple offensive linemen, because again, you don't want to, as good as Caden Green is, I don't know if you want to be Texas and start true freshmen on your offensive line. Like Texas just got talented 5-star guys to do that.
We also have guys that are young that haven't played yet, so we have some depth up front.
Yeah, but we need more depth than what we have.
Well, we've got a lot of depth. Like, let's not be crazy and think that we don't. We just those guys haven't had a lot of snaps.
I sat there and watched this game and was like, you know what? If we get who we think we're getting out of the portal at the linebacker position, I for sure now believe Danny Stutzman has lost his job.
I wouldn't say Danny Stutzman.
No.
Look, here's
the leading tackler in the Big 12 is not going to lose his job. In
now,
no scheme will you lose your job if you led the Big 12 in tackling. PG, come on, that's crazy.
I can give you 3 guys I would start.
Yeah, but they're not even in the portal yet. So if you're speculating, it's not happening.
I think it's
until
pretty
it happens. It ain't going to happen.
I don't necessarily know if you with him. Now, here's a question for you guys. Okay, and PG, I'll go to you first. Do you move a Guebu to the edge? Because I mean, I don't know. I mean, we've seen him at linebacker for a few years now in the Grinch system. In this system, look, we get it. He can tackle. He's an above average linebacker. And when I say that, I'm not saying he's a C- linebacker. I'm saying that he's a B- on a bad day. I mean, pretty much just a solid C on a bad day, and on a good day, he's probably a B+.
I wouldn't even give him that.
You wouldn't? No, but I think that's interesting. But I think taking him away from the linebacker position might hurt us a little bit, because I think people forget how smart David Ugwoegbu is. And David Ugwoegbu actually puts a lot of these guys in position, and I don't know if he can do that from the edge.
Yeah, but we also have guys like Danny Stutzman that can put people in, and the back end do that a lot more and everything like that. Mm-hmm. I think he would be more suited as an edge player.
Look, let's see. David Ugwoegbu. I'm not going to say he's going to lose his job, but I definitely could see.
He may have a new position.
He could get pushed, but I definitely think that looking at maybe him looking at edge is not going to be the worst thing. Let me go back to this comment up here. I wanted to get to this, okay, by Jimmy Satterfield. He says, I'm glad Broyles has graduated. What was he doing guarding that 6'7" receiver? Here's my thing about that, okay? Now, I've been really critical of him these past few years. This year, and I've said it on a few podcasts, Justin Broyles has had a good year this year, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say it. But again, with what Jimmy's saying, we've seen it time and time again. And I think we saw it a bunch last year, and especially if you go back to Iowa State. Anytime they played Iowa State, they used and abused him. Somehow he's getting put on, he's lining up and he's matching up against their tight ends, these 6'7" guys. Kohler is not athletic in any part. Is he a good tight end? He's a damn good tight end.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter, it's not like he's out there making moves like he doesn't have that same twitch as a Braden Willis. But at the same time, his length, his body, he's able to use that and just basically bully him. And it's just a thing where, man, like Broyles has to go. You got to get that fixed, man. That's got to be.
And I don't want to just pick on Broyles, because it's been a theme the last couple of years is where we've just been outmatched in the secondary because of our height and our ability to match up against guys. Like you said, tight ends. It's like a basketball game. You just go and post up on somebody, and it's like basketball. You're gonna try to find. You're gonna tell me that a 7-foot dude inside is and you're gonna have a point guard. That'd be the equivalent of a point guard guarding a dude in the post. It's just not. I mean, it's gonna be a matchup nightmare, and it's not just Broyles. So I don't want to just pick on him. It's been a few guys back there.
A few guys back.
Yeah.
Now here's what I will say. Okay, I think next year, just going back to the Ugwoegbu piece, and I think maybe PG agreed with me on this. The guy that I think fits that mold and is a guy that we're hoping pushes him for that inside backer position. Let's just be honest, that's pretty much what he's played all year, right? Inside backer, kind of outside linebacker. Kanik is the guy. And to be honest with you, I know a lot of people wanted to see Kanik at Cheetah and are hyping that up. I think Kanik is going to play better right now, right beside Stutzman. Yep. That's where I think he's really going to earn his money. I think he's going to be a great inside/outside linebacker. You can see him at the Cheetah at some points. I think that's McCullough's spot, the older brother, obviously.
Yeah, I don't think you're taking that from him.
Mm-hmm.
No, but it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I definitely agree, and I'm with you guys 100% that Jaron Kanak is a inside linebacker, And I think BV has already put that in him to say, hey, I want you to play the middle. Like, you're better suited there.
Now, here's a point of contention in the secondary. And Drew, I'll go to you, and I'm just going to say this right here, and then PG will you chime in on this too. Jaden Davis looked lost out there at times, because there were some times where I'm like, I don't think that's where you were supposed to go on that route. I'm like,
backpedaling into the end zone on the 15-yard line. Like, what in if you're in zone coverage, the corner stays up, the safety has the deep. It's only 15 yards, dude. You've got to stay underneath.
I'm sitting there just saying, I don't think that's what the defense was supposed to do.
I don't know, man. I'm like, why are you backpedaling into the end zone?
There were some plays where I was like, okay, that makes sense. I see y'all are running like pretty much a cover 3, giving that type of look. But God bless, I was like, are you serious in that backpedaling to the end zone? PG, what did you see on that side?
I'm sorry, I missed it. What'd you say?
No, I was just saying that with Jaden Davis. Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad that he's potentially. Is he coming back? Because I know he has another year of eligibility. Do we know if he's coming back? Because OU fans might riot.
He probably will, unless he hits the portal.
Yeah.
Well, because he loves OU.
Yeah, he's a great dude. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking any of them. I'm just like, it's just what in
Talking
the world?
about guys moving positions, though, you think Jaden Davis could move to the linebacker position and excel?
No, way too small. He's 5'10", 180.
So where do you think he excels on the football field?
He's got to play corner. He's got to stay out there at the depth chart somewhere. But at the same time, you have guys, and maybe I'm more, maybe I'm biased, but the 918 kids have a lot of upside. Gentry Williams, Robert Spears Jennings, some of these cats that are longer, more athletic. I think they're going to steal some spots from some of these guys next year.
But you want to know the good thing is,
and they're going to be,
But here's the good thing: Venables next year, I'm going to be honest, he doesn't have ties to some of these guys that have been in the program forever.
Yep.
So at this point, it's not like it's going to hurt his feelings to not put Jaden Davis out there if he comes back. Like he's just going to be like
those things where you got to say, business. Hey, come spring, wide open, boys. Every spot wide open. If you don't like it, there's the door. Like, I'm sorry, but you have to have some competition. Nobody's safe. Like,
now, Jaden Davis could go to a grad assistant role, right?
Oh, he could do that, but he can also go play somewhere.
He's still got eligibility. You might as well, But that's the thing, is that you got to have this thing be wide open, man, especially on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let's go out, compete. We know what we have to do. Get back. You got some time off here. January comes rolling around. It's time to work out. It's time to get back in the film room. It's time to do some stuff, and then get ready for spring ball. And it's wide open competition on the defensive side.
I mean, yeah.
Here's
again, I just think we're in a good position because
we're
far
gonna have some depth. Yeah.
Well, and Isaiah Coe can come back next year, right? Because I think he needs to come back with us. He'd be good if he could come back.
I don't know that for sure. I don't know.
Well, no, he should have the COVID year at least.
Yeah, I don't know if he took it.
Yeah, so if he can come back, and then you have Lacey that you can put on the line, you'll have Ford. And then I really like Ashton Sanders and Marcus Strong, even though they'll be true freshmen. I think those are guys that because they're just so big. Slap them at the nose tackle position and just say, have fun.
Jonah Laulu will be back.
Yeah, Jonah Laulu, but he'll play more of the edge. And
that's what I'm saying. When you're talking D-line, you got to talk about everybody.
Yeah, I think Jonah Laulu will I think he'll have a better season next season.
Hey, I will say this. One guy that finally showed up that we thought we were going to see all year was Johnson. Finally showed up tonight. Was that plug in the middle for
Jeffrey Johnson.
Jeffrey Johnson was that tonight was the what we thought we'd get all year, and he was to be honest was a little bit disappointing this year.
He grads out too.
Yeah,
right?
he's done. Yeah,
but see, this is my problem is we have some guys like Johnson that were really good, but I don't think they fit the 3-man scheme. I think they fit better in a 4 or 5-man front. And so I think it was like, it was great that we got that talent, but it was almost wasted because I don't think he excels in a 3-man front. I think if OU runs a 4-man front, also, man, why is my watch going off like that? I feel like if we go out on a 4-man front all season, we probably only lose 2 or 3 games.
Sure.
Because I think the defense is that much better running that better at a 4-man front.
Let's shift it a little bit, guys, and let's go ahead and go to this side of the ball. And let's start right here. Drew, I'll let you go first. Guys, Hank says, guys, do you think DG showed up tonight?
Nope.
Why not?
I mean, you really want my answer? Probably not going to like it, Sooner fans. Never been really high on Dillon Gabriel all year. The stats are, I mean, you got some, he's had some really good stats, but he doesn't know how to throw the deep ball. He can't read coverages very well. He thinks he runs like Kyler Murray. I'm going to be critical of him because, our quarterback, our standards at quarterback, he's not it.
It's okay to be critical, but I don't want, people to start saying that Jackson Arnold is the answer.
No.
And that we need to use them like, no, because I made a video earlier about this and people were saying, oh, well, Trevor Lawrence, it could be like Trevor Lawrence and we could put out. No, do not compare Lawrence and Arnold in the same, like Arnold needs to sit on the bench next year. And honestly, I feel like people I understand the criticism. Like it's okay to be critical, but I don't feel like people are taking into account Dillon Gabriel was coming off of a fractured left clavicle last year.
PG, I have to interject because earlier this year, when we first started doing pods and all of that, you brought up the idea. And I was sitting here and I said, hey, PG, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Jackson Arnold is going to push him. You were adamant about that. Now we switch positions on that because now I'm like, you know what? It might be worth.
We need some pushing.
Fight it out.
I think Jackson will push him, but I don't think it's a good idea to start your true freshman at quarterback. And I've advocated for that the whole year because I've been saying that with DJU and Klubnik out at Clemson. I don't think it's ever a good idea unless your true freshman is just a world beater talent out there. Can go.
If you go back through the years of college football, you could count really stud true freshman starters on one hand.
Yeah, because just Caleb Williams, as talented as Caleb Williams was, you saw the mistakes when he got out there and had to play those extremely difficult defenses, OSU and Baylor.
John Russell, to answer your question, Jeff Lebby is the QB's coach.
And here's the other thing. I know people are saying, oh, well, let's take another quarterback in the portal. Okay, we can do that, but, I mean –
we're not going to.
Any quarterback in the portal realizes they've got 1 year. So if they've got more than 1 year of eligibility, they probably aren't coming.
Yeah.
But that's the reason why you would go and get a guy. If DG is non-committal and God forbid he leaves, because he definitely needs to come back, because this is going to probably be the best place he can go.
But OU fans are running him off.
No, listen.
I've not seen too many running him off.
OU fans are critical, and some may be running him off, but he's not going to go anywhere. I don't believe. But here's what
I mean, and I'm not being critical or anything like that. But at this point, where are you going to go? You're not going to the NFL.
So well, the XFL, the CFL.
Yeah, but you're not leaving OU to go to the XFL.
Well, yeah, and then he's not. And I mean, I don't think he could leave. I don't think it would be. I mean, even though he's got 2 years of eligibility, I don't think it would be smart for him to leave and go to another program just because he has to learn a whole new scheme.
Yeah,
he
needs to stay at OU.
Here's what I have to say about it. If he does leave, that's the reason why you go out there and you tell a guy like the Hartman kid or whatnot from I think that's his name from Wake Forest.
Sam Hartman.
Yeah. You go out there and you basically say, hey, this fits you. I mean, we were running something similar, but this is more wide open, especially more wide open than what you would get at Notre Dame. But I don't know. I'm speculating here. But the thing about DG is this right here. What got me and when before you came on, this is exactly what we said. PG and I were saying, hey, he holds on to the ball. That's something he's been doing all year. He did that in this game an awful lot, and that hurt us. Some of those sacks, half of those sacks, in my opinion, were more on him than it was offensive line.
Yeah, you could blame it on the inexperience up front, but when you hold the ball for 4 or 5 seconds, you're going to have that happen. Like, you don't see a guy open, chuck it over his head, go to the next play. That's the thing, is that people want to make an excuse for him all the time. He did have some good balls. He did throw some good ones. Marvin Mims went and made some good catches. Those were great throws. I'm not going to lie. But there was some throws that if he hangs it out there and lets them run underneath it, it's a touchdown. Like, it's one of those things where, and then I don't know how many times he slipped and fell, like the butt throw. I mean, it's one of those things where, I'll be honest. Like, if somehow he leaves, I'm not going to be too tore up about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, you're almost hamstrung because Jeff Levy's not going to bring in a quality portal guy because that's his dude.
And you don't want to bring in another quality kid because, again, I've said it, but you want Jackson Arnold taking every second string snap that he can get next year.
Not necessarily.
In any of those, games where
we're
blowing them out.
If Grayson McCall wanted to come to OU, what would you say? He would be the third string from Coastal?
I mean, hey, if DG gets hurt, he could be the starter. But any other time where Oklahoma's, blowing somebody out and Dylan, has to come out of that game, I'm putting Jackson Arnold in there because I want Jackson Arnold to get as much game experience as possible without being put in the trenches and having, to fight
Yeah, that's if you're talking mop up duty and stuff like that. But it doesn't look like we had too many of those situations anyway this year.
PG,
yeah, but I feel like you're going to get a lot more of those next year.
PG, one of the problems with that is this right here. Okay. One, if Dylan Gabriel was playing a brand of ball that we're used to seeing at quarterback here at OU, that would be plausible. Yep. Second off, if Dylan Gabriel is not getting the job done and all the rest of that stuff, what is the one thing that we're lacking at that position right now as it stands today? Jackson Arnold's not on campus. He's a commit. He's signed. He's all of that, but he's not on campus right now.
Yeah.
What do we lack? We lack talent, and we lack depth, and we lack competition.
Quality depth. Yeah.
Quality depth in that room.
Because you've got nobody to push Dylan Gabriel right now.
Nobody.
And the guy that you wanted to push Dylan Gabriel wasn't going to play because he was a freshman, and he ended up transferring.
Yeah. So
you've got to bring in guys. Right. I don't care if he's your dude. Yeah, you guys were together at UCF, all that stuff. But sometimes you got to put that aside and do what's best for the team.
Look at Saban. Look at what Saban and all of them are doing.
Saban pulled the trigger on Jalen Hurts, sat his butt down, and Tua played.
Yeah, but Tua was the better option.
Was he?
Okay, as a pro quarterback, maybe not. But as a college quarterback, yes.
Though? What other coach would have the guts to do that, though?
Hey, I mean, Riley did it halfway through the season.
Okay. Did he win a national championship?
Unfortunately not.
Did he do it in the national championship game?
Because that's the thing about it is that you got to have competition at all the spots. You got to have guys that push them. And the thing is right now, early in the season, we could say, hey, look, the cop-out was we're spoiled fans because we've had Kyler, we've had Baker, we've had Sam Bradford, we've had guys like that. Hell, even Landry Jones. But at the end of the day, right now, as it stands, Dylan Gabriel has not shown, and I've been a Gabriel fan, but I'm just gonna say, be real with you. Dylan Gabriel has not shown that he is a quality starter at OU. As much as that pains me to say it, because he just has not.
He's a good quarterback.
He's a good quarterback, but just as far as to the level that OU needs,
he's an average Power 5 starting quarterback.
I'm going to tell you now, and I hate to say this because people going to eat me alive on this. You have Dillon Gabriel. Not Dillon Gabriel. You have Caleb Williams. He erases at least 4 of those losses this year.
No, he does. But I mean, comparing Caleb Williams to Dillon Gabriel is, that's like
that's the standard we've had.
Spencer Sanders. Not Spencer Sanders. You have Spencer Rattler back there. You might be in a better.
You win more games than Dillon Gabriel. Stamp that.
I don't know about that.
I do. How many big games has Dillon Gabriel won?
Yeah, but we're taking out TCU, Texas, and what was the other one where he was hurt?
You can't take out TCU. He started that game.
Yeah, but he got hurt like
that's not
a quarter and a half into it.
It's not Spencer Rattler's fault.
Yeah, but he was not able to finish that game. I'm not going to put that game on him.
Don't take off and run and act like you're Kyler Murray. I'm saying Spencer Rattler is a better quarterback than Dillon Gabriel. Stamp it.
I mean, he has a higher ceiling, but he
can see over the line.
He can, but I'm just saying he has a higher ceiling. But I would not say right. I would not say right now that I would say they're probably on equal playing field.
So if you're
Rattler just into the season hot,
if you're an NFL GM, who are you evaluating higher?
Rattler, because he's got a higher ceiling. Rattler, because he's got a higher ceiling.
That means he's a better quarterback.
And I'm gonna say this right here: Rattler would get the ball out of his hands. Hell, even if that thing's gonna
he's like, Frick, I'm throwing it in the stands.
It's gonna get out, and that's the whole thing. Rattler,
and he's got touch.
Yeah, Rattler with time would eat up a lot of these defenses right now. Rattler with time, but the time that Dillon Gabriel is getting, that was one of the problems last year that we had, was the fact that your run game was pretty much non-existent outside. It was pretty much non-existent at times. And then one of the biggest problems with him is just that the offensive line was not that good last year. All over. But Spencer Rattler with time, go back to the game against Tennessee this year. That's Spencer. That's the Spencer that we know, that we saw here for a limited amount of time at OU. But I'm just saying, point blank and simple, bottom line it. Dillon Gabriel.
We gotta have guys that are gonna push our starter, whoever that is, in the quarterback room.
Yeah.
That's the only way you get better as a unit. As a group.
Well, yeah, iron sharpens iron, and I do think Jackson Arnold is going to be able to come in and contend for that starting job. And here's the thing: I think we're going to have a position like we did with Riley, where maybe the best quarterback in that room, especially after the spring game, doesn't start because they're a true freshman, which honestly is the right call. It's the right call.
We're gonna be in no matter how you put it in any shape or form, we're gonna be in the same Clemson type of situation. We're gonna be in the same Spencer Rattler and Caleb Williams type situation. I don't know if people are talking about, do we still trust in BV and all the rest of the stuff? Still trust in him, because even though we're not gonna take any moral victories, like you said, Drew, I saw enough tonight to say,
sure, future is bright, definitely.
Future is bright. But what I will say is this right here. We just need talent at those positions. You got to have talent in that position, but we're going to be in the same position regardless. I don't know if DG finishes the season as a starter next year, and that's not saying that we're going to.
And that's part of that competition.
Yeah. Well, and that's okay. Like, if Jackson Arnold sits half the season, he ends up putting on more weight. By mid-season, he looks like he's ready to take that position. Then maybe you can do it. But I am not the kind of guy where I'm going to throw my true freshman quarterback out there to start. I'm not throwing him.
If you don't absolutely have to, you don't do it. Nope.
If you have that luxury, and we all can agree on that. If you have that luxury of being able to wait with him, you could. And
you will, because you've got 3 cupcake games to start the season. So you should be able to win all.
SMU being a cupcake.
Oh, hell, with them losing.
No, SMU's not this year, is it? It's Arkansas State.
SMU is next year.
Yeah, SMU is next year. It was supposed to be Georgia, but then they changed that.
Yeah.
I thought we play Arkansas State next year.
It's Tulsa, Arkansas State, and I thought it was SMU.
Yeah, those are your 3. So moving on, let's go ahead and move on. We talked about Gabriel and his woes enough. Running back was a bright spot tonight. My uncle and I kept going back and forth about about Barnes. I had no problems with what Barnes was doing. Barnes was doing something different this game, which was basically running through the tackles. Sawchuk looked incredible tonight. Sawchuk, you're sitting there saying, "Damn, maybe we should play him the entire season."
No, he was not. He was not built. He was not ready to play.
Oh, he was definitely ready to play.
Hell, from this,
he had the.
Here,
I mean, don't get me wrong. He had the talent to play.
Yeah.
I just listen. You had two great running backs in Javonte Barnes and Eric Gray that could get you there. So letting Sawchuk sit back and gain
that's
some more
good
weight
to get
and
him in those moments. I know he had the fumble, but that's a great learning tool for him. It sucks at the moment it happened because it probably cost us, part of the game. But that's not the one play. I'm not going to boil it down to just that one play. It was just a terrible spot in that moment. But young kid, he's going to learn from it, and that's the only way you do it. You trial by fire, man, and get him in there, and better now than in a tough game against Texas in the Red River next year, and he does it. Something he always will think about next year. He's running that rock. He's like, I remember Florida State. I'm gonna take care of the ball. It's gonna be in his head, and it's gonna help him move forward. But yes, I said that. Me and my buddy Danny were talking. I said, dude, he reminds me a lot of Kennedy Brooks. The way he runs between the tackles, behind his pads, faster, more explosive Kennedy Brooks. But hey, if we get the kind of stats that Kennedy Brooks had, we'll be doing great with Gavin Sawchuk. So,
and PG, you had a really good point, but I'll just say, I mean, we were running, we did play Tyree Walker an awful lot this year, and my whole thing was like, hey, those are snaps that I still feel like Sawchuk, but saving him, having the red shirt, all the rest of that, it makes sense what you did to get him to progress during the year. But for those two,
I love Tawee Walker. I'm not gonna lie. I think Tawee Walker should potentially have gotten more touches this year than what he had.
I mean, you could. I could agree with that, but at the same time, I don't feel like he should get the carries that some of these younger guys could have gotten more of.
And I think the thing is that, I mean, that running back room is going to be full next year with Smothers and then Hicks coming in. I think, I'm excited to see what Hicks has, and I'm also eager to see what Smothers is going to be able to do too, because just the raves that you hear about that kid out of North Carolina is good. Here's something real quick.
And isn't there that Megwa kid, that Emeka Megwa kid that we got out of the portal from Washington?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that kid. That's another kid.
Yeah. I'm excited about him too. I think a lot of people are forgetting about him, but he could potentially, play a role for at least third or second.
Yeah. Definitely forgot about that kid. It's a good look. Kier Costner says Spencer Rattler would have had 20 plus turnovers this season. Stop it. Look, here's the thing.
She's not lying though. Really,
no.
She isn't.
Did you forget what he did in 2020? Threw for over 3,000 yards, 30 touchdowns.
It's recency bias. It's just
okay, but
who else did that? Did Dylan Gabriel do that? No.
Dylan Gabriel got pretty damn close. Hold on, I'm pulling up his stats right now.
Bro, please, no. Stop. I'm gonna stop. I'm no.
2,900 yards.
I'm gonna stop that shit right now. And I said I'm gonna stop that shit right now, PG. I can't do that.
You can't just throw stats out there and say
Dylan Gabriel puts up the Landry Jones type numbers. They're gaudy numbers that look really good on paper, but don't do anything.
He has made some crucial mistakes this year at key times. You can paint it over with stats all you want. He is not that dude.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I hate to say it. I'm still going to cheer for him.
I just don't think there's really a better option. I don't think you're going to get a better option.
That's because we didn't set it up that way. That's Jeff Levy. That's on Jeff Levy.
So then don't put it on. Then don't put it on Dylan Gabriel, because Jeff Levy has made it to where Dylan Gabriel cannot be successful. Because
he's the starting quarterback at Oklahoma. How can you not set him up to be successful?
Well, from what we've talked about, there's no depth in the room to challenge him and make him better. And
but if he's your dude, he doesn't need it. Right?
I mean, I just think everybody's being a little too harsh on Dylan Gabriel. I think he's
Somebody's got to.
I think a lot of people would take Dylan Gabriel to be their starting quarterback on their team. I think OU's just, they're looking through the lens of
With
we
Georgia,
don't have those Heisman contending quarterbacks.
With Alabama, with Georgia,
Stetson, shoot, Georgia's winning national championships with mediocre quarterbacks.
Do you think we can win a national championship with DG?
I think you could with maybe another year under his belt. I think if Dylan Gabriel stayed for 2 more years and you didn't have no, I said if he stays for 2 years and you didn't have Jackson Arnold back there, I think you could have a shot at that. I really do.
And there was a comment on here. I don't remember who said it, but Dylan Gabriel cannot take over a game and win it at quarterback. He can't. And somebody said it. It's way back, but I thought it was a very good point because you can't. And it's just, I mean, he's a good quarterback. He's an average Power 5 starting quarterback. That's okay, though.
He at least gets you to a new age.
He gets you to 6 wins
of Oklahoma football.
He gets you to 6 wins.
You can't put 6 losses on Dylan Gabriel's feet, man. You just can't do that.
3 of them.
Dude, this offense was good enough to win you games all season.
So nothing's Dylan Gabriel's fault, right?
No, I mean, Dylan Gabriel gets some of the blame, but y'all are acting like it's all Dylan Gabriel's fault
that we lost 6 games. Trying to tell me that he's a Heisman Trophy candidate and a national championship
I never said he was a Heisman Trophy candidate.
Stetson Bennett was a Heisman Trophy finalist.
Shouldn't have been.
But he was.
You really? Hold on. You're really going to play that card like Stetson Bennett was a Heisman, like he actually had a shot? Like you really believe
What's Stetson Bennett's record been the last couple of years? How many games has he lost?
None.
1.
Oh, yeah, he lost to Alabama last year.
Yeah. I'll take Stetson Bennett over Dylan Gabriel all day long and twice on Sunday. But anyway.
Wait, listen, we're just going to have to agree to disagree here because I'm just not.
I've evaluated plenty of quarterbacks in my day.
Listen, I will put some blame on Gabriel, but I'm not going to act like he was the problem.
But don't act like he's the solution, though.
Yeah.
I listen. I think next year you're gonna be eating those words when Dylan Gabriel gets a whole nother offseason under his belt.
Yeah,
with
and
some
then
of
we're
these
gonna come in against 3 cupcakes,
system.
And he's gonna throw for that. And he's gonna go up against a better defense and can't see over his offensive line and thinks he can run around like Kyler Murray.
But
Kyler Murray couldn't see over his offensive line.
Yeah, okay, so Dylan Gabriel's better than Kyler Murray is what you're saying.
No, I'm just saying, like you're acting like being able to like Kyler Murray couldn't do that.
He doesn't need to because he has a skill set like that.
Hey, listen, guys. Let's go ahead and keep moving, okay? The question is not let's leave Dylan Gabriel. Look, we're just gonna agree to disagree on that. I'm leaning more towards your side, Drew, but we'll just leave it there. Here is the thing about the offense, though. You have to quote unquote spread it out, and I'm not talking about how you're lining up. I'm talking about you're gonna have to figure out more guys than just playing 3 guys pretty much on as wide receivers the entire game. I mean, it's the Stoops, Farouk, and Mims show, which is not a terrible thing, but at the same time, you're like, what's the point of going and getting a LV, Bunkley? What's the point of going and getting a Hester? I mean, those guys have been like Hester and Nick Anderson have been injured all year. Basically, you saw him out there for one play, Nick Anderson. You got to be able to spread the wealth, and I mean that's what you're hoping that Petaway, Keon Brown, guys like that coming in here, and Gibson next year will be able to add to this offense to be able to give you more of that versatile look that you're wanting, that you see in this Baylor style offense.
Well, and I think that's why you haven't been able to see Oklahoma go grab more wide receivers out of the portal because they're not utilizing the guys they have now. I mean, you mentioned those guys, but I mean, we haven't seen a whole lot of Trayvon West this year, and we saw Jaden Gibson a couple times. Jaden Gibson should have been out there quite a bit this year.
He should have been out there tonight.
Yeah.
I'm not saying throw him the ball, but let him rotate in there. He's a kid from Orlando. You got to get that dude in the game and show him some love to his hometown. Like, put him in there for a couple snaps at least. Like
that's because here's the thing. It's not like we're Ohio State. Some of these kids are not going to be patient. Like, if especially with that kind of talent, they'll just get up and leave if they're not going to get out on the field and at least get some production early in their career. They'll just get up and go somewhere else.
I mean, that's just the era that we live in now.
Yeah, but then you're going to put yourself in a position like we are now, where you offer really talented guys in the portal, but they don't want to come here because you're not giving them any level of production that would make them think, oh, I could come there and be successful.
I like that comment. I'm not going to even stir it back up, but DG is Nate Hibblish. Yeah, I concur.
Let me ask you guys this question. So we've talked about just some of the things that we saw in this game that pretty much cost us this game. As far as just looking forward to the let's not even look forward. Let's just look at what are the bright spots? What are the areas that you saw? Not talking about moral victories, but let's just talk about just the bright spots from this game. I mean,
you now know what you need to go get out of the portal. You have clear definitions of what you need to go take.
Yeah.
No and if or buts about it. You know what you need to go get.
Yeah, and I would start with the interior defensive line.
I'd go interior defensive line, linebacker, and offensive line.
Yeah, but we're talking about bright spots, right?
Yeah. Hey, no, that is a bright spot because now they have no excuse. They can't act like they didn't know. They know now.
Yeah. Definitely your running back room. Your young offensive line, I think, will be pretty good coming up. You got Jacob Sexton. You got guys like Jake Taylor.
To watch him get hurt today.
Yeah, you got Jake Taylor. You got some of these guys that are going to be still around. So that's good. Obviously, you got a lot of your receivers. Most of your receivers are coming back. All of them, I think, pretty much that are your key playmakers will be around. So that's good. But defensively, like I said earlier, you've got a lot of young talent that's going to be in the back end of your secondary that hopefully can piece itself together and that, like the competition that you were talking about and that you alluded to earlier, Chris, that iron sharpens iron, and I think we're going to see a lot of competition, a lot of battles, not only in the weight room and in some of the competitive things that Smitty likes to do with these guys in the strength and conditioning, but as you get into spring ball, you're going to see a lot of good battles coming in the spring. You're going to get a lot of depth, and I think it was really important to get this bowl game because of that. You started seeing Javonte Barnes and Sawchuk and some of these guys getting first team reps, and you wouldn't have gotten that over the last month if you weren't in a bowl game. And so I think that was a good thing to have, is you started to piece together some of these things and start, like PG said, identifying some of the things you need to go hit in the portal. You're able to get a Trace Ford, you're able to get some guys, so you're starting to get some of that needs met there on the defensive line. But it's a good problem to have when you have a lot of that talent. And I know that, flag.
Like PG was wrong.
I guess Washington didn't get a call.
No, they didn't. The Texas receiver completely. I mean, I know he's looking at the ball, but he grabbed it by the back of the neck and threw him on the ground.
Great news. Washington 10, Mullet Boy 3.
Hey, at least the effort. I'll give him that. At least
effort was great tonight.
You put yourself in a position to win this game.
Yeah, I've never questioned our effort this year.
I don't
know about that.
I'll say this this year. I mean, I'll say this right now. You put yourself in a position to win this game. I don't know if you guys saw me and our guy JP, shout out to Indy Sooner on Twitter, but JP and I were tweeting back and forth today about it, and we said, hey, he said I got OU losing 34-24. I said I had OU winning 34-31, and I said because I think we matched up well, and I said it's just all about not making the same mistakes that we've made all year.
Hey, I said OU by a field goal. Almost happened.
Almost happened.
Hey, you know what? I will say, I was impressed to not see OU go out there and get blown out, because I really thought this was going to be a blowout in terms of you lose.
I had my worries.
I didn't think it would be a blowout simply because I thought that you've had this entire season to grow, And the reason why, and Drew and Jay know, I've said this a bunch of times. I compared this FSU team to, I'd say, hey, they're very comparable to TCU, or poor man's version of TCU. And I said, we have film to go back and show our guys, hey, this is where we messed up. This is where we messed up. This team makes those same type of plays. They do the same. They have the same type of tendencies. This is where we need to be good at to be able to win this game. You were able to do that for about 3.5 quarters, and you could pick a quarter to where there was a lull in the defense. But I mean, you put yourself in a position to win. You just made a few too many mistakes down the stretch to actually pull this win off.
Yeah,
and
yeah, I agree. That's
by no means do I think that Florida State is a bad team, but to say Florida State is just a superior team or whatnot, them winning this, I think a lot of their fans are gonna be happy that they finally won a bowl game. And what did Jeff Colhane say? It was like since like 2016, the last time they've won a bowl game. But
yeah, this was a tremendous. I will say this was a tremendous win for this Florida State program.
Yeah. I think another thing is that they're going to, but I think Florida State fans are going to look at this game and say, okay, this is a good catapult to next year, but we got some things that we need to fix as well, because how the hell are we struggling with this OU team?
Well, I think a lot of it is when you have to play people in conference every single week. I think it's easier to game plan there. There's a reason why the Big 12 doesn't look as good every single year when they play each other, but then all of a sudden they go out. The exception to this year, because this year they're just not doing well in their bowl games, but they go to the bowl games and they look a lot better. I think there's something to that about playing people outside of your conference and different level of competition. Everybody has a different style of play. I'm not going to say, compared to some of the other teams in other conferences, OU's just awful. Like, I think OU, if you, all of these are bowl games, 12-game schedule, OU's probably winning 8 of those games, playing, other teams across the country. If you play 12 different teams.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, but still, the narrative was that OU was going to lose.
Well, yes,
big in this game.
I will say this, and this is one of the things that I really want to happen with the college football playoffs. But I am tired of bowl games happening and like a team like Florida State getting to play like in their home state. I think it's completely unfair to other teams to have to go travel halfway across the country and pretty much play in somebody else's territory. I feel like in a bowl game, you should have to go outside of your home state.
I think the problem is
that would be tough.
It's the ticket sales, PG. It's all about the ticket sales. I mean, it kind of
the warmer weather.
Yeah, and and the thing about it, especially with OU, if we're just being OU based, we travel really well. I mean, this is just a game. This is kind of like in their backyard, so obviously
we had a lot of fans there, but I mean, like
I don't know. Jay was saying it was 75-25.
Well, and I tell you the reason why it was 75-25, because they thought what you thought initially, that they were going to come in here and blow us out and they were going to have a good time. This game took some time. They're leaving there right now, not woo, oh my God. They're saying okay, we got out of there. So, because I mean, at the end of the day, I mean that's why it was 75-25. This was a feel-good game for them. They thought this was going to be a time to blow out a storied program. They haven't beat us in quite a long time. We've blown them out every time that we played them since the national championship game. I know that wasn't like just a blowout, but I'm just saying the other times that we played them. I mean, think of the times they had Christian Ponder, right? But yeah, I mean that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like it bugs me because then I watch. It's not just the bowl games, right? I watch, and I know we're kind of getting off track here, but you watch the beginning of the season, Oregon and Georgia play each other for a neutral site game, and it's in Atlanta. I'm like, really? That's not a neutral site game. Like I hate calling them neutral sites. Like if you know what, if we're gonna play in somebody's backyard, exactly just go to their home.
Yeah,
ticket sales, money, revenue.
Yeah.
Big corporate sponsors getting their opportunity to put their name in the middle of the field, stuff like that.
Hank said we reliable kicker. I guess he's saying that we don't need couch riders, right? But anyways, We need a reliable kicker, which we actually really do.
We have one.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not going to sit here and call for somebody's job on the team and just be like they need to go. But I do think we do need to get some more experienced kickers in that room to either challenge Zach Smith or maybe they'll help coach him and teach him a little bit.
He's been spotty all year.
Well, and that's
but he's a true freshman though, isn't he?
Smith, no.
Oh no,
like a junior.
Who's the true freshman this year that was on?
Gavin Marshall.
Okay,
he's the leg, but there's not too many of those kickers in the portal. Unfortunately, that's one of the positions that you don't see a lot of guys in the portal. But
hey, you saw the Bengals tweet it. There's a reason why you draft kickers.
Hey, I don't know if you guys saw the Wisconsin news today, but that got a little interesting about an hour ago. So,
Tanner Mordecai.
Tanner Mordecai is going to Wisconsin.
Hey, I didn't understand why he was hitting the portal from SMU. Anyways, I thought he had a good season at SMU, and I thought SMU's been going in the right direction.
Sonny Dykes is not there anymore.
He wasn't there this year either.
Yeah,
look, he balled out.
So, but anyway,
that'll be interesting. So now you got Nick Evers there. You got Tanner Mordecai.
Hey,
and then you've got that kid coming in 2024.
That's what you call building a quarterback room for competition.
Yes, but the difference is that Nick Evers was a true freshman this year, and I think Tanner Mordecai knows he probably has the upper leg on that kid.
Maybe, but I guarantee that he's going to get every opportunity to win that job, unlike other places.
Hey, listen, we've had a quarterback competition every single year at Oklahoma since like 2015.
Yeah. Tanner Schaefer and Kyler Murray, that was a heck of a battle.
What? Okay, so was it Tanner Mordecai and Baker Mayfield? Was that what it was? Or Tanner Mordecai and Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, or something like that, yeah.
Hey, Lincoln Riley might be the best.
Or Spencer Rattler that was his freshman year when Jalen was here.
Let's talk about this right here. Matt Bingham had a good question. The stuff that went wrong today, will it be fixed next year?
Yes.
That's the $1 million question. No, I wouldn't just say yes. I don't know.
Well, PG, why do you say yes? Elaborate.
I trust the staff, and I trust that, after this season, again, I think a lot of the problems that we have with the team and the roster that we currently have is last year they had to take best available because they were behind the 8 ball of getting here, which is not their fault. This year they've had, the whole season to backdoor players. They've had this whole start from the transfer portal and the recruiting side. So I think, instead of having to take the best available, you're going to take best fit. And that's why I think, next year you could see a tremendous turnaround and this team go win 10 or 11 games next year because they are going to bring in guys that fit BV's system and know how to play. And I'm not saying that's what they're going to go do, but you could see that. And I wouldn't be shocked if I saw that.
PG, because let me stop you right there. Drew, I want you to give me why you don't think that, because, and please convince me, because everything that PG just said, I agree with that.
Well, didn't we say that this last offseason?
That's because you got to think about the narrative that was surrounding it.
Did we say that last offseason?
You got to think about the narrative that was surrounding it with Mulshoe, Tebow, whatever you want to call them. I'm just saying. Come on, man.
I'm not saying that it's not going to happen, but nothing has shown me yet that it will happen.
This is what will show me that we're being serious about winning football games.
There's some changes that need to happen that are starting to happen, but until we start winning some big games next year, I'm still a believer. I'm not ready to fire Venables or anything like that, but you don't know. You can't certainly say.
No, I will give you that. If you want to believe it when you see it, I'll give you that. Yeah. But I'm just saying, if this team goes out there and wins 10 or 11 games next season, I wouldn't be shocked because they're doing the right things in the portal. If they would have did what they did this year in the portal last year, I don't think you're in this position. I really don't. But the problem is they just weren't able to take the players that I think fit what they want to do last year. Now they've been able to do that.
BV, it's not even a rumor. It's been said there's some guys in the portal that if they could go back last year, not saying that it's true regrets, but I'm just saying there's some guys in the portal that they would have actually gotten probably if they would actually made a more of an assertive effort to get those guys.
Let me answer this question that Jimmy just put up there. Not really a question, but fire Ted Roof. Has Ted Roof been calling the defense? Yes or no?
Was he called at the beginning of the season?
80% of this season he has. 80% of the season. 80% of the season.
No. Nope.
So
look at the sideline and tell me who's calling the defense. And why hasn't the camera been on Ted Roof in the box? Why haven't they been talking about that? I'm not blaming it on BV. I'm just saying Ted Roof, it's like a mayor of a town.
He's the scapegoat. He's the scapegoat is what he is.
He is the scapegoat, yes.
But here's my thing. Again, I think it sucks to go 6-7, but the way that they've gone about coaching the season, I know that 3-3-5 frustrates us, and I know I've said it multiple times, like run the 4-man front. But you run the 4 to 5-man front if you want to win the football games, and I guess not really grow and develop in the system that you want to run. Running the 3-3-5 and going through these hiccups with some of these young guys and some of these guys that you know are going to be on the team for future to come, it helps them understand it so that years like next year, when you are bringing other guys in that know how to run the scheme, everybody is everybody knows how to go out there and do it and be successful.
And
right?
Part of this too is the coaching staff still building that cohesion with each other.
Mm-hmm.
These are guys that have not coached together until this year, all together collectively.
But
and yes, it takes time.
Yeah,
it does.
To piggyback off of what PG was saying. Look, the whole thing is yes, you want to build that cohesiveness. You want those guys to be in year 2 of the system. The problem comes with Roof or whoever the hell is calling the defense is this right here. Okay. Situationally, we play terrible football. There's terrible play calling on some of those plays. Now, I get it. If you want to give cushion to a guy, to their Johnny Wilson or whatnot, if you want to give a cushion to him, I can see that. We came into this game already saying that he had big play capability. We knew that. But there's a handful of games that you can go to on 3rd and 5, 3rd and 8. Even 4th and 2s, and we're tied from Around the Table Sports guys. Shout out to him. He always said, "I don't get why you guys are cushioning them on those plays. The short yardage plays, you guys are cushioning them. Like what the hell? They're basically running out routes the whole time. They're running 5-yard out routes while our guys are giving them a 10-yard cushion. It makes no sense to me. So situationally, we call some pretty bad calls. We talked about it earlier as well with." When we're dropping a Guebu and Stutzman in our cover 3 or any of our zone coverages, it looks really bad because it's like they're just letting guys either A, run across their face, or B, they're just basically running out of the plays and the quarterbacks of the other team are just eating them alive because they're waiting for them to clear out. Because what did Garrett Riley say was the weakest part of our defense? The middle.
The middle.
So it's been exploited every single game this season, and rightfully so.
Yeah, but I don't think there's one thing you can point at and say that's the reason we need to do that. There's a lot of things that we need to correct, we need to smooth over, and I think one thing that I think people are overlooking that was a problem this year was BB learning how to become a head football coach. There was times where clock management, timeouts, things like that, the flow of the game, he was learning, and I'm not gonna put it on an excuse, but there was some things like Texas Tech game, probably should have called a timeout there. There was other things like tonight, that spot, that was not a first down. He should have called a timeout and made them review it or been in their ear and said, hey, that needs to be reviewed. You guys need to look at that.
Okay, but that's first-year head coaching experience, right? Like,
did Bob Stoops do that in 1999? No. Quit making excuses.
I can't look.
You've been an assistant coach for 27 years for 3 Hall of Famers. You had to have learned something from them.
I bought into him. The whole thing is that look, there were questions surrounding the marriage between him and Levy, how that was going to go. I think coming into this, there's some talks, there's some conversations that need to be had. Yep. But at the same time, look, at the end of the day, with this game right here, okay, and we know this has been bulling up for the entire season. At the end of the day, they came out there with a great game plan. They wanted to run the ball. They were successful at that. They were successful with a lot of the different things that they were trying to do. The problem is that it was just mental mistakes. Once again, crept up on us. It caught us, and poor execution down the stretch is what lost us this game. We didn't, again, and I always say this, and I will always say this. Florida State didn't beat OU tonight. OU beat themselves. We have nobody to blame but ourselves, and there's key members of this team, this coaching staff, and on and off the field. I mean, on the field and off the field, coaching and players, there's key members of this team where you're saying, okay, that was the time that we lost. That's the reason why we lost. That's the reason why we lost.
Yeah, it's not just one. Yeah, not just one guy. Everybody needs to look themselves in the mirror this offseason. Players, coaches, staff, everybody included, and go back to the drawing board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it takes time. Exactly,
and Matt, I don't even think BV
have all their players yet.
Yeah. Again, they had to take best available last year, not best fit. And there's a huge difference in that. Yeah. Jeffrey Johnson, a best available player. But he doesn't fit the 335. He just doesn't. Yep. Which is sad. But Jeffrey Johnson, I think, could go play in the NFL tomorrow.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. Some of these things, if we're sitting here again next year and some of these things are still rearing their ugly head, then I think there's conversations and things that need to be, you need to start having. If we're sitting here again with another losing season, then, there's definitely some question marks and some things you really need to dive into. Now, I don't know what that is. I'm not predicting anything. I'm not saying fire anybody. I'm just saying if it starts becoming a pattern, not good.
Yeah. So I think, if you are in this position next year, Joe Castiglione's having a conversation with Venables, and it's going to be you've got to make major staff changes.
Yep.
But to answer Matt's question, can it be fixed this year? Yes, I think it can.
Sure.
Again, I said it. If this team goes out there and wins 10 or 11 games next year, and I would not be shocked. I literally would not be shocked.
No, we have the talent, but I think developing that, continuing to cultivate that, this is a big offseason for us. Huge offseason. Because we finally got our staff, we got everybody in place. Things have calmed down. We don't have that radical, off season that was last year. We have a normal off season to where we can breathe a little bit. We can go into an actual off season and prepare some things a lot better than we did last year. And certainly, we can breathe a little better.
Yeah.
Because last year was unprecedented. And you had to do what you had to do. You had to keep your head above water and keep moving. And now I think our head is still above water, but we definitely have some things that we need to look at and evaluate and, coaches, players, all that. And get back to the drawing board and find out where all these pieces that we've come up with or are still coming up with, where they fit. So
here's the thing. I believe that if Lincoln Riley was still here, you're probably looking at 4 or 5 losses this year, even with Caleb Williams. And here's why. The past couple of years of Riley's tenure at Oklahoma, you started to see the games get closer and closer. You started to see him lose more and more games.
Sure.
This was going to happen eventually. Maybe not 7 losses, but a bad season was coming. So let's just get it out of the way now.
I could have seen us go 8-4. Something like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's just get it. Yeah, let's just get it out of the way now, right? Because this was coming anyways. And you know what?
Yeah.
OU
fans,
that's
why I said this is a big offseason for us.
Yeah, it was time for us to be humbled. When Lincoln, or not Lincoln, when Venables came in and literally said in his presser, and he said it to Castiglione and all the fans, and we just didn't listen. Give me 3 years. we probably should have listened to him because we thought he was going to turn it around in 1 year. And it's just not historically, he hasn't turned it around in 1 year at any program he's been at. It takes a couple of years to get something implemented.
And he also hasn't been the head coach at those programs either.
True. Which again, and I get it, he's been an assistant coach, he's been under some great people, but I do think that even though you've been under those positions, I think it still is like a learning, right? Because you're making those calls, you're calling the shots.
Yep.
And so it's that trigger of like, oh, I need to do this. Yep. So give him time. Like he's going to learn.
No, I'm not saying
figure it out.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's done a terrible job. I just think that, maybe some of these things that, and I think, for him, and I've seen this and I've heard this about head coaches, that they go back and watch film, and not only are they evaluating players, but they're evaluating situations during the game. Oh, I could have done that different, or they're watching it for them, and it's you get with guys that are experienced that literally it's basically like a film room. You're sitting there with them, or, like he's maybe going to go sit down with Bob or Dabo or somebody like that in the off season. And, they're going to, they're friend at the end of the day. I think that a lot of people don't understand how much these guys really talk to each other and how much they're connected and how much they'll probably sit at the lake this year or this summer or something like that, or have some downtime where they're together. They're watching film of, it could be anything. They could turn on whatever game and say, hey, and in this situation, they'll pause it and they'll say, hey, 4th and 3 at the 38-yard line, you kicking a field goal, or you want to go for it? And they really talk through scenarios. They talk through things. And you talked about the iron sharpening iron. There is a group of coaches and they've known each other. Just because they're not together anymore doesn't mean they still don't stay connected, and they try to help each other out and everything. And I think that's where Brent is really going to lean on, is some of these experienced, great coaches that he's worked under, and give him some time to really evaluate himself and really, because he's one of those guys that's a self-evaluator. He's hard on himself, but he's got guys that are going to tell him the truth. He's probably not going to like some things that some of his mentors or some people say that, he's going to take to heart, and he's going to get better, just like players do. And I think that that's often sometimes overlooked in coaches. And that's just me, from the times I've been evaluated and things like that as an assistant coach. I thought I've been doing this really well, or I'm doing, and my head coach is like, maybe you need to work on this, or maybe, hey, let's try something like this. And it's hard conversations. It's not easy sometimes, but I tell you what, it's very fulfilling at the end of the day. And you learn a lot from failure than you often do success.
Yeah. Do you, let's go to one of these questions. Matt has another question right here. Have you guys heard anything about Mims and Gabriel being back next season?
I believe Mims comes back.
I've heard more about
his draft grade, but I also would not be shocked if Mims decides to just take the risk, because Drew and Kchris, help me with this. I really don't know how much upside Mims has at this point for his draft stock rising, unless he just comes out here and puts up, a 1,500-1,600 yard season.
Yeah.
I mean, am I wrong?
No, certainly if you had more games like tonight where you had you can really put some of those incredible, spectacular. Everybody knows his athletic ability. Everybody knows he's got speed, all that stuff. But I think consistently putting it out there and showing a really good body of work is something that he's not had a lot of. And, healthy stuff like that. He's had a few knick-knack injuries, stuff like that. But I don't think it hurts him at all to come back. I think it could help him even more. I think he could push his draft stock up a little bit higher, but at the same time, I don't think you're losing out on a ton of money or ton of, I could have been a first-round draft pick if I would have come back next year type of deal. But
he might make more money coming back to NIL.
But I think more. I've heard more about Mims coming back. Gabriel, obviously, when if you guys seen the Levy thing and all that, I don't know. I feel confident that both of them will be back, but in this day and time, in this world we live in with the portal and draft and people doing all whatever, nothing would shock me. So
this is not a good year for quarterbacks to go to the draft just because it's so deep. But I will say this: there is one player that I'm extremely interested to see if he comes back, and I've been texting him back and forth. Is CJ Colden.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think he's a guy where he could come back and make himself a first-round pick.
Yep. Well,
I mean, look at what he did at the end of the season once he got comfortable.
Well, look at what he did tonight. He pretty much locked down the side that he was on.
Yeah, he had four interceptions in just a couple games this season after he got comfortable and really learned where he fit in this defense.
That would go a long way in our DB room next year if he's back.
Mm-hmm. Imagine you've got Woody Washington, you have CJ Colden, you have Billy Bowman. I would assume Peyton might not start next year, but I assume we're probably going to see a lot of Peyton next year, right?
Some snaps, special teams for sure.
Yeah, and then not to mention you got Robert Spears Jennings, you have Gentry Williams. Oh my gosh, that secondary could be the strongest room for Oklahoma next year, which is surprising to say that about Oklahoma.
They did, and I'm not no question about it. I mean, we really went out there. We played a solid game. Just the ball didn't roll our way.
That's what
it was a fun game. It was a fun game. It was a fun game to watch.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is, it's like, look, we nitpick. There are some things that we definitely want to see fixed, and we think could be better.
They played
at the same time. I mean, they played really well tonight, better than a lot of people thought. You're going out there with pretty much just a made up offensive line, kind of like, let's just go out there and see.
Florida State, a really good team, top 25 team, had their full deck.
Yeah,
nobody opted out.
Yeah, even the guys that they know are going to transfer did not even opt out. So I mean, they had And you're
not using that as an excuse, but it just was. It was what it was.
No, that was something good to look at. Look at all the guys that opted out for Oklahoma, or were hurt and couldn't play, and then look at all the guys that opted out for Florida
I will
State.
say this: I like what Jay Norvell is doing at or Jay Norvell, Jay Norvell. I got Jay Norvell in the mind. He was our receivers coach here back in the day, but Mike Norvell, I like what he's doing at Florida State.
No, I like what he's doing at Florida State, but I do have concerns because I got a chance to talk to Desmond Ricks for like a couple minutes over some Twitter DMs. Florida State legit stopped talking to this kid, and they had him locked up. If they would have continued to talk to him, he would have went to Florida State. And it's just things like that we've heard Florida State historically dropping the ball, and I'm like, why? I would love to know why. Because those are the things that are not going to help your program be at the Alabama and the Georgia status.
I think with Mike Norvell, though, coming from Memphis or whatnot, and that's kind of, I know me and you kind of go a little bit back and forth about Mike Gundy. I know that you think that they have the potential to do more than what they've done, obviously, in recruiting and kind of on the field as well. But I just think that's kind of his pedigree, at least right now. That's just in his DNA.
It's inexcusable, though. It's inexcusable.
You could call it inexcusable, but the thing is that it's not being cocky or anything. It's just being confident in what you can bring in. You're going to get guys that fit what you're trying to do. And I think that he's not trying to miss out on kids that he feels that could develop better and instead of just trying to chase the 5-star. I'm not saying that he shouldn't go after a kid like that. I'm not saying that he shouldn't do that, but some of these programs, I mean, you're seeing it. Hell, look at who won the Big 12 this year. You don't need all those 5-star kids or whatnot to go out there and actually compete and win.
I mean, you don't, but at the same time, I was texting Drew about this earlier. We're not going to name drop, but Gundy is, and he's done this for a while, and he has a knack for doing this. He doesn't bring in kids that want to be there. That would just literally like, I want to play at OSU. Like, why would you not want to bring?
They have a ton of talent.
Yeah,
great kids.
Yeah. Get offers from like Alabama and Oklahoma and all those places.
And these kids, I'll just say this: there's a kid in his backyard that wants to come to Oklahoma State that he's not giving the time of day to.
Yep. And he's probably going to end up going to a place like Oklahoma or Alabama.
And he's gotten offers from everywhere around the country.
Yeah. This kid's probably going to be a top 200, maybe 100 player by the end of this 2024 cycle. He's that good.
And he is straight up ghosting him.
Yep. And then also they have a chance to go out there and get, 5-star Kobe Black next year. Do I really believe in my heart that Gundy is going to be able to go land a guy like that after what we've seen out of him the past couple of years on the recruiting trail? Absolutely not.
It looked like to me, and this is just what I saw the other night watching the Wisconsin-Oklahoma State game, is he had his arms folded and he looked like he couldn't give two you-know-whats about that game and what he was doing. I think he's just ready to be fired or ready to go, or I don't know what is going on. But he was just like this. He was just like,
and it sucked because
I'm like, I think this dude's just ready to retire or something. I don't know what's going on.
And there's a legit chance. There is a legit chance they might let Kansas beat them in the recruiting rankings this year. In this cycle, I mean, yeah, it's pretty much over, but there's still a few guys left to drop. There's a chance Kansas could jump.
Not
them,
Ray Brown,
which is sad. Which is really
Ron
sad.
Brown. Yes, the kid was offered by OU as well.
Yeah, he was offered by Michigan State, Oklahoma, Alabama, Texas. Yep. He's been offered by a lot.
And I'll let I'm not gonna. y'all can do your own fact check in there.
Okay, y'all.
If y'all know the answer, put it in the chat, and
we will neither confirm nor deny it.
We've been on here for an hour and 20 minutes. We've laughed together. We've cried together. We've argued amongst each other about certain things. But what I want you guys to do now, okay? PG will go with you first, and then you, Drew. I want you guys to give me your final thoughts about this game and just moving towards winter workouts and then spring ball.
Yeah, final thoughts about this game. We lost it, but it was fun. And I think, this is going to set up a good revenge game for when Oklahoma and Florida State go to play each other again. It seems like that's a matchup that happens more often than not. So I'd be expecting Joe Castiglione to be giving whoever it is down there at Florida State a call to put another game on the schedule. But, I mean, you have – you at this point, where you need to go in the transfer portal. So I like that. No excuses. I like where they're going for next season. I mean, I'm going to be watching the transfer portal really heavily over the next couple weeks. I expect some players to be hitting the portal, and I expect ODU to be landing some certain players in the portal. So if all falls in line, I think we're going to be just fine next year.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it was a hard-fought game. Really loved our effort. Really loved, us going out there. I don't think anybody gave up. We were in there. We wanted to win this game. We wanted to play in this game. No question about that. Played a very good Florida State team. They had a full load. All their guys. I was excited to see us play one of our better games for the most part. Some things didn't go our way. But really, really some bright things that stood out. Obviously, our running back room, a lot of talent. It's going to be a really interesting offseason, not only for the reasons that PG said with the portal, with some stuff like that we still need to fill some needs, but how some of these guys, the new, we got a lot of new early enrollees from this signing class that we just had, so that's going to be good. These guys are going to get in and get right in the fire, go right after it, and heading into spring ball. Really, really, excuse me, excited to see some of these competition battles at some of these positions. And, the future is still bright. I nitpick. I'm critical. That's just my coaching mind and the way I think. But at the end of the day, I think, we're tracking. I know a lot of people are frustrated and mad with the first losing season since 1998. But at the same time, you've got to take a step back to jump forward. And so I think that's what we're doing here. And, just excited and continuing to watch this team grow and build into the kind of team I think we know it can be. So with that said, I'm excited for spring sports. I'm excited for baseball, for softball. I'll be in Norman quite a bit because I love my baseball. I got season tickets. So y'all ever in Norman around this, in the spring, all that stuff, holler at me and we'll do the baseball thing and watch some spring ball and stuff like that. So
I will say this: OU fans, don't panic because we could be Texas right now.
So
what's the score?
It's 10-3, but Texas hasn't won a Big 12 championship in how long?
It's true that.
Oh, it's been forever. But let me jump in here. Let me say this real quick. We're gonna go right back around because Kier Costner he had a good question. So my thoughts on this game and moving forward is this right here. Hell of an effort tonight. Wish we could have got the W. Wish we could have been here talking about that. There's a lot of things to fix. It's 50-50 basically. On one hand, there's a lot of things to fix. On the other hand, you're excited about the progress you've seen throughout the season. There have been some really bright spots, some really good football at times by both the offense and defense. The coaching staff looked like they knew what they would do. They were competent at times. There are obviously things that need to be fixed. I think some areas that we need to look at, obviously, like PG said, guys in the portal, but also we got to look at this coaching staff. Do we need to go and get a wide receivers coach, a permanent wide receivers coach? Sure. Do we need to go and get a Jim Leonard, Bronco Mendenhall, guys who are notorious for running the 3-3-5 and their different variations? Do we need to go get guys like that as the DC coordinator and let BV be the actual CEO of this team and actually groom him, continue to groom himself in this position and to be groomed in this position? As far as the players, man, we have to figure something out to get this pass rush situated. That is the biggest thing right now. We need to be able to rush with just 4. I think that's going to help us in those zone looks that we definitely want to run. We so desperately want to run effectively. A pass rush is going to help that. And even if let's be real, a good pass rush always hides holes in the secondary because they're getting home and they're causing those pressures. But at the same time, when you have one guy that's kind of holding his arms up the whole time and can't shed the block, and then the other guy is getting pushed upstream and doesn't have that will to bend and get to the quarterback, and we're not being able to still set the edge at that point, no spies, no anything. I mean, it's just one of those things where we got to get better. We're that close. I'm not going to say this close. We're that close to being where we would like to be, at least playing for a Big 12 championship right now. Do I think we can get back on track next year? I really do. I believe what BV said as far as when he was talking about OU the year before they played Clemson in what was it, the Orange Bowl, whenever they got beat by Clemson, and then the next year they went 6-6 or whatever that year, and then the next year, guess what happened? They're in the college football playoffs. I'm not saying that will happen, but what I would say is this right here: we just have to have better play, and we got to execute down the stretch. Going into winter ball, there's a lot of these guys. We have a lot of mid-years that are going to be on campus. You're excited for that because you want the Peyton Bowens and Vickers of the world and everything to get acclimated to this system. That way, those guys are out there day one. Those guys are able to be in a rotation, and now you're getting them into where you need what you need them to be. A guy like Reggie Pearson, you're excited for him to come. I think the thing about him is does he really have the cover skills? We know he can hit, we know he can tackle, but does he have the cover skills to come in there and be a big time player in this defense and make plays? You're just excited about it all. Another year for these guys to be in the Smitty system. You're hoping that Rain gets right and can be healthy. And
no doubt.
Yeah. I mean,
that's interesting that you said that, because that is something that we haven't mentioned tonight that I think is huge in talking about, just how can why will Oklahoma be so much better?
Yeah.
Look at all the programs that Schmitty's been at. It always is year 2 that the program takes a huge step in the strength and conditioning area, which is a big part of this game.
Huh.
So that's another reason why you would expect this team to be much better, next year, because they're going to have year 2 into the Smitty program.
So real quick, PG, can we get your college football playoff semifinal predictions?
Gosh, I want it to be Michigan and Ohio State so bad. I would love it to be the game for the national championship, but I think it's just going to be Georgia and Michigan again.
Drew?
Oh man, I don't think I could say it any better. What he said. No, I really want to see Ohio State, Michigan. That would be just compelling college football. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be Georgia and
don't say TCU, because if a Big 12 team goes before Oklahoma does,
Michigan.
It's gonna be...
I think it's gonna. I think it's gonna be a tough, closer game than most people think with that Michigan TCU game. But I think at the end of the day, Michigan's too physical, and Georgia and Michigan, and yeah.
Can you imagine though how petty Ohio State and Michigan are going to be if they go to the national championship?
That's why I want to see
it. It's going to be
that's good ratings for our show because Zach is a
Ohio
State fan. So
it's just funny because we've seen the SEC teams there so much, but it's none of their rivalries stack up to Ohio State, Michigan. They just don't.
Yeah, not in football.
No, not
even close.
Well, guys, hey, look, everything that Drew just said is what I say. Okay, PG, Drew, go ahead, tell everybody where they can find you guys at, so they can follow you, all of that.
Yeah, y'all can find me on YouTube, Apple, Google, or Spotify. The PG Show, all one word. Covering a lot of OU and Colorado content right now. Going to be touching on some Florida and Texas stuff over the next couple of weeks. As you know, we cover all college football content. We're not, we're trying to be inclusive to everybody, including those guys down south. But no, seriously, got a lot of good content out there. A lot of good interviews coming up. Working on some more Colorado interviews because it seems like you guys like those a lot.
Yeah. Well, PG. No, I'm just kidding. I am the co-host with my buddy Zach Merrill. We are the Under Official Review podcast. If you search us on YouTube, Google, Apple, Spotify, all that, and then all of our social medias, the Under Official Review. We talk all college football. Obviously, we have some OU stuff, some Ohio State stuff too, and we are a part of the Winning Edge Sports Network as well, and the Fanboys. So check us out over there. We'll be doing some more content and stuff like that as it goes, and yeah, just excited to talk college football and get ready for these playoffs. They'll be fun.
All right, guys, look, check this out. Like, subscribe, follow the channel. You guys know what it is, the Horns Down Podcast. We always have these guys on. Guys, thank you for always coming on and showing some love to us. With that being said, hey, even when we lose, we still say Boomer Sooner, So
and always
Horns.
Fire Gundy. Horns down.